Indra's jewel net, or the jewel net of Indra, is a much-loved metaphor of Mahayana Buddhism. It illustrates the interpenetration of all things. Here is the metaphor. In the realm of the god Indra is a vast net that stretches infinitely in all directions. In each eye of the net is a single, brilliant, multifaceted jewel. Each jewel reflects every other jewel, infinite in number, and each of the reflected images of the jewels bears the image of all the other jewels, infinity to infinity. Whatever affects one jewel affects them all. This metaphor illustrates the interbeing of all phenomena. Everything contains everything else. At the same time, each individual thing is not hindered by or confused with all the other individual things. A note on Indra. In the Vedic religions of the Buddha's time, Indra was the ruler of all gods. Although believing in and worshiping gods really isn't a part of Buddhism, Indra makes many appearances as an iconic figure in the early scriptures. The metaphor is attributed to Huayan Buddhism, a school that emerged in China and is based on the teachings of the Avatamsaka Sutra, in which every individual phenomena perfectly reflects all other phenomenon. In his 1977 book, Huayan Buddhism, The Jewel Net of Indra, Francis Cook wrote, quote, "Each individual is at once the cause for the whole and is caused by the whole, and what is called existence is a vast body made up of an infinity of individuals, all sustaining each other and defining each other. The cosmos is, in short, a self-creating, self-maintaining, and self-defining organism." End quote. This is a more sophisticated understanding of reality than to simply think everything is part of a greater whole. Indra's net is very much related to interbeing, which refers to the notion that all of existence is a vast nexus of causes and conditions, constantly changing, in which everything is linked to everything else. Thich Nhat Hanh illustrated interbeing with a simile called clouds in each paper. He said, quote, "If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there will be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow, and without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper inter-are." End quote. And so, in exploring a metaphorical connection between the jewels of Indra's net and the abundant trees of a vast forest, please consider the following thoughts. Come to the forest, walk among the great trees. Intrinsic to the power and beauty of our wilderness forests are boundless trees. Their nobility is inescapable. It is impossible to take their living splendor for granted or remain unaware of the partnership between their presence and Buddhist sensibilities. Thich Nhat Hanh taught how in our previous lives we were trees, and even in this life we continue to be one with the trees. Without trees, he explains, there cannot be people. Therefore, trees and people inter-are, and if trees cannot survive and prosper, neither can people. He suggests many of our illnesses arise as a result of being cut off from our natural surroundings and prescribes 15 minutes of breathing while hugging a tree. a practice from which, after 3 months, he says one will feel strong and clear. His prescription: practice tree hugging. Select a tree that resonates in your heart, and as you hug the tree, you breathe in, saying, "I am with my mother," and then exhale, saying, "I am happy." As you do so, be sure to look upon the tree, touching its rugged bark, smelling the life of the tree so fragrant. Said Mahmud Shah Bestri, the 14th century Islamic poet, "Know that the whole world is a mirror. In each atom are found 100 blazing suns. When you split the center of a single drop of water, 100 oceans spring forth. Everything is brought together at the point of the present." Fundamental concepts of interdependence hold that all phenomena, anything one can point to as this or that, are intimately connected. The metaphor Indra's net contains a jewel at each vertex, with each jewel reflected in all the other jewels. This symbolizes a universe where infinitely repeated mutual relationships exist between all aspects of the aggregate. It is an image used to communicate concepts of emptiness, dependent origination, and the complete interdependence of everything that exists, regardless of form, time frame, or essences. Here's more on Indra's net from the Buddha's Avatamsaka Sutra, also known as the Flower Garland Sutra, in which a cosmos of infinite realms upon realms, mutually containing one another, is described. Quote, "Far away in the heavenly abode of the great god Indra, there is a wonderful net which has been hung by a cunning creator in such a manner that it stretches out infinitely in all directions. There hangs a single glittering jewel in each eye of the net, and since the net itself is infinite in dimension, the jewels are infinite in number. There hangs the jewels, glittering like stars in the first magnitude, a wonderful sight to behold. If we now arbitrarily select one of these jewels for inspection and look closely at it, we will discover that in its polished surface there are reflected all the other jewels in the net, infinite in number. Not only that, but each of the jewels reflected in this one jewel is also reflecting all the other jewels, so that there is an infinite reflecting process occurring." End quote. And so, walk through a forest among the majestic trees. Sense the vast, life-sustaining root system far below your feet. Feel the rich duff built of long-ago fallen tree elements such as leaves, branches, bark, and stems, a soft blanket in various stages of decomposition, soon to be the ingredients of new life. Thick, giant ferns abound. Icy cold creeks cascade down canyon slopes, feeding the rivers that rush toward the sea, and so often, deep in the forest beyond any notions of human influence, perfect silence. Trees reach toward sky, some straight, others curved, still others twisted, all ages newly sprouted to time-worn, in infinite mixtures of smooth and gnarly. Pay attention. Stop and touch them. Do so gently. Speak to them in your soft voice. They are your family. You are smack in the midst of Indra's dazzling net. Such is the nature of the forest. From the tiniest spider web to the mysteriously rarefied canopy top, everything serves as a reflection of everything else, a living, breathing, infinitely faceted jewel. All harmonious, sharing mutuality while also occurring in grandeur and dignity as separate entities sustaining the others, including you. Yes, the brilliant jewels of Indra's net serve as fertile likenesses for the trees that live in our sumptuous forests. Initially, this netness is a metaphor for us to make use of, a clarifying prism to help us see beyond that which our eyes are easily capable of seeing, to illuminate that which our minds have most deeply suspected and are now coming to know. From that, we intuitively awaken to the fundamental Buddhist understanding that we too, like all else, are equally necessary jewels in this infinitely precious net of all there is. All of this serves as profoundly nourishing compost for our mind in the form of healing arts and sciences that are both bountiful and passionate. From this, exquisite blossoms emerge. Motivated by their beauty, we then do what we do. This recording was written by Mark Winwood. My name is Kathy Ambrose. Mark is a member of the teaching faculty at Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado, and is the founder and principal teacher of the Chenrezig Project, a Tibetan Buddhist study and practice group with an active presence via online Sangha gatherings, our regular e-magazine writings, and These Elegant Mind podcasts. If interested, you can learn more about the Chenrezig Project at our website, www.chenrezigproject.org. That's CHENREZIG project.org. We welcome your inquiries. Our accompanying music, titled Helicopters and Small Planes, was composed and performed by the San Francisco Bay Area musician Bobby Vega. It appears on his 1997 album, Down the Road, on which Bobby is joined by the Turtle Island String Quartet. You can learn more about Bobby and his music at his website, www.bobbyvega.com. That's BOBBYVEGA.com. Or, as he's very findable online, you can simply Google his name or look for his numerous videos on YouTube. We remain grateful to Bobby for his friendship, his talents, and his generosity in sharing his beautiful music with our Dharma audience. Please feel free to share the link to this podcast with those you feel it might resonate. Once again, my name is Kathy Ambrose. Thank you for listening.